My girlfriend texted, "I told your boss about your secret interviews with his competitor." I replied, "That was a bold move." Then I walked into his office, showed him the text, and placed my signed offer on his desk. When he started pleading, my new boss was already calling. There's something strange about success. Everyone says they want you to have it until you start getting close. That was the case with me and my girlfriend, Emily. When we started dating, I was just a regular data analyst at a mid-sized tech company. My job wasn't flashy, but it paid the bills, and I was quietly climbing the ladder. Emily always said she admired my drive. She'd post little things on Instagram like, "So proud of my hard-working man," whenever I stayed late or got recognition at work. But as the months went on, admiration slowly turned into competition. If I got a raise, she'd talk about how her friend's boyfriend made more. If I worked late, she'd accuse me of choosing spreadsheets over her. Still, I thought we were solid. Then one day, I got a message on LinkedIn from a recruiter at one of our biggest competitors, a company I dreamed of working for since college. They were looking for a director-level position in data strategy. Twice the pay, full creative control, and the chance to actually lead a team. I didn't tell anyone. Not my friends, not my coworkers, not even Emily. I wanted to keep it quiet until it was real. The interviews went great. The recruiter said they were impressed by my background and vision. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I was stepping into the career I actually wanted. At home, I tried to act normal, but Emily could tell something was up. "You've been smiling at your phone a lot lately," she said one night while scrolling TikTok beside me. "Just work stuff," I said quickly. She narrowed her eyes. "Uh-huh, work stuff." A week later, she started asking oddly specific questions. "Hey, isn't your company's biggest competitor called TechCore or something?" "Yeah, why?" "Oh, no reason. Just saw something about them on the news." It was such a small comment that I brushed it off. Then came the night everything changed. I had just come home from dinner with the recruiter, final offer meeting. The job was mine. I hadn't signed the contract yet, but it was ready. The salary was nearly triple what I was making. When I walked through the door, Emily was sitting on the couch with her laptop open, the screen angled just enough for me to see my own name on it. My stomach dropped. She had gone through my emails. "Emily, what are you doing?" "Just looking," she said flatly. I had a weird feeling. I walked over, and there it was, the email thread between me and the recruiter. She must have guessed my password or used the Remember Me login. "You've been interviewing behind your boss's back?" she said, voice dripping with fake sweetness. "Isn't that unethical?" "It's how business works," I said, trying to keep calm. "People change jobs all the time." She smirked. "You'll thank me later." "For what?" She turned her laptop toward me and said, "For doing the right thing." There it was, a text message to my boss. "Hey, just thought you should know your employee, my name, has been secretly interviewing with TechCore. Might want to keep an eye on him." I just stared at her, not even angry, just numb. "Why would you do that?" I asked quietly. She shrugged. "Because you were being sneaky. You should have trusted me." Then she smiled, like she'd done something noble. "Besides, if they fire you, maybe it'll teach you to stop keeping secrets from people who care about you." I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just took a deep breath, nodded slowly, and said the only words I could think of. That was a bold move. The moment those words left my mouth, Emily looked confused, like she couldn't tell whether I was angry, joking, or just done. I didn't say anything else. I just walked past her, went into the bedroom, grabbed my briefcase, and pulled out the signed offer letter from TechCore. I'd signed it at dinner, right before coming home. My new position was official. The next morning, I woke up early. Emily was still asleep. I made coffee, sat at the kitchen counter, and reread her message to my boss. She really thought she had won, that she'd exposed me. But here's the thing. I didn't need to be exposed. I had leverage, real leverage. At 9 a.m. sharp, I walked into my boss's office. He looked tense, phone in hand, the message from Emily clearly still fresh in his mind. "Can I talk to you for a minute?" I asked. "Yeah." "Close the door," he said, motioning with his hand. He gestured toward the chair, but I didn't sit. "I heard from your girlfriend," he said finally. "She told me you've been interviewing with TechCore." I nodded. "That's correct. I appreciate your concern, but that information's already outdated." I reached into my folder, pulled out the signed contract, and placed it gently on his desk. "I've already accepted the position." He blinked. "You accepted?" "Yes, effective 2 weeks from today." Then I pulled out my phone and showed him the text Emily had sent, the one where she bragged about contacting him. I thought you should see this, I said calmly. Because when you hear from TechCore about a partnership deal next week, I want you to know I'll be leading that project from their side. His expression changed immediately, from anger to panic. Wait, hold on, he said, hands raised. Let's not make any rash decisions here. He started backpedaling, suddenly talking about how valued I was, how we could revisit compensation, how I was like family. But I just smiled. No need. I'm happy with my new arrangement. Then, as if on cue, my phone buzzed. It was a call from my new boss at TechCore. I answered, right there in front of him. Hey, just wanted to say welcome aboard. The voice said cheerfully. We're excited to have you leading the data integration for the merger. I'll send the official announcement to your current employer this afternoon. I met my boss's eyes as I said, perfect timing. I'm actually in his office right now. When the call ended, the silence was deafening. My boss rubbed his temples. Look, can we, can we talk about this? He said. You don't have to leave like this. We can find a way to. To what? I asked. To keep pretending loyalty goes one way. I picked up the offer letter, slid it back into my folder, and stood up. Tell HR I'll finish my current projects. But after that, we're done. When I got home that evening, Emily was pacing the living room. You didn't lose your job, did you? She asked immediately. I just wanted to scare you a little. Teach you to be honest. I laughed, genuinely laughed. No, I didn't lose my job. I held up the TechCore offer letter. I got promoted. Her face went pale. You what? Yeah, I said, sipping from my mug. Turns out, I was already moving up while you were trying to pull me down. She started babbling excuses, how she didn't mean to ruin things, how she was just scared that I'd leave her once I became successful. You didn't ruin anything, I said quietly. You just showed me exactly who you are. I grabbed my keys. By the way, don't worry about packing. The lease is in my name. Her voice cracked as I walked out the door. Where are you going? Forward, I said, without turning back. Update 1.it had been 6 months since I left both my old job and Emily. 6 quiet, focused, liberating months. TechCore turned out to be everything I'd hoped for. Modern, efficient, with people who actually respected ideas instead of guarding egos. I was managing a team of 12, leading data strategy for a huge merger between TechCore and my former company. Irony, right? My name was starting to show up in business articles and LinkedIn features. One morning, I even got tagged in a post that read, "From analyst to director in 6 months, proof that discipline pays off." That same day, my assistant told me someone had been calling the office repeatedly, asking for me, but refusing to leave a message. I didn't think much of it until she said the name. Emily. She said she used to be your partner. I froze for a second, not because I missed her, but because the audacity almost made me laugh. I told my assistant to block the number, but of course, that didn't stop her. She started showing up in my Instagram DMs, sending messages like, "Hey, I saw your article. You look happy. Can we talk? I owe you an apology. I miss us. I was just scared you'd outgrow me." Then, one day, she showed up in person. It was a Thursday evening. I was walking out of the TechCore building when I heard a voice behind me. "You look good." I turned around. There she was, Emily. Hairstyled, makeup perfect, but her eyes, they looked tired. "What are you doing here?" I asked, keeping my tone neutral. "I just wanted to see you," she said quickly. "I made a mistake, okay? I was stupid, insecure. I didn't know how to handle what you were doing. So you sabotaged me? I thought I was helping you." I couldn't help but chuckle. Helping me lose my job? She looked down, fiddling with her purse strap. "I didn't think it would blow up like that. I thought maybe it'd make you appreciate what you had." Emily, what I had was someone who couldn't stand to see me succeed. Then she said something that made me pause. "I got fired last week. Apparently, after I left, my old company started struggling. The merger with TechCore had forced internal restructuring. Her position in marketing got dissolved. She was jobless, panicking, and desperate. I'm not asking for money," she said softly. "I just miss having someone believe in me." I sighed. "You don't need someone to believe in you. You need to stop destroying what's good for you." Then she looked at me, tears forming, and said the same thing she used to say when we were dating. "You're the only person who ever made me feel safe." For a second, just a second, I felt a flicker of something. Not love, but pity. But then my phone buzzed. It was a message from my new girlfriend, Lena. She worked in the same industry, brilliant and kind, someone who actually celebrated other people's wins. Her message was simple. Dinner's ready. Don't be late. I made your favorite. I looked at Emily and said quietly, I'm not your safe place anymore. Then I got into my car and drove away. That night, I didn't feel angry or proud, just done. It was like the last remaining piece of that old life had finally burned out. Final update. 8 months later, I was in Chicago, standing backstage at a tech conference where I was one of the keynote speakers. The topic was corporate ethics and leadership resilience. Funny, right? Considering how I'd learned my biggest ethical lesson the hard way, from someone who once shared my bed. The event was huge. Venture capital reps, media, half the tech industry packed into that convention hall. I was calm, collected, scanning through my notes while sipping coffee, when my assistant said quietly, there's a PR rep from the Chicago branch who wants to say hi. She said she knows you personally. I didn't think much of it. I nodded, looked up, and froze for half a second. It was Emily. She was dressed sharply, hair shorter now, holding a clipboard like she belonged there. To her credit, she didn't look embarrassed. She looked cautious, like someone walking on a cracked sheet of ice. Hey, she said softly. You look well. You too. I replied, measured. There was a pause, that awkward, heavy silence between people who once knew each other's entire lives, but now have nothing left to say. She cleared her throat. I didn't know you'd be one of the keynote speakers. I'm consulting for the PR agency handling event coverage. Good for you, I said. Glad you landed on your feet. She smiled faintly, but I could see the guilt behind it. I read that article about you in Business Weekly. They called you the quiet strategist. Sounds like you finally got what you wanted. Not exactly, I said. I got what I worked for. For a brief second, she looked like she wanted to say something. Maybe to apologize again. Maybe to rewrite the ending one more time. But I didn't give her the chance. Someone from the event staff called my name. Mr. Carter, 5 minutes. I shook her hand politely, professional, detached, and walked toward the stage. No drama. No lingering eye contact. Just closure, clean and simple. When I got up there and started speaking, I noticed her in the crowd, near the media section. And for the first time, I realized I wasn't angry anymore. She was just another person in the audience. Another lesson I'd already learned. After the conference, I flew home to Seattle, where Lena was waiting. We bought a small house together. Nothing extravagant, just peaceful. I still wake up early, go running before work, make my own coffee. Life is quieter now. Steady. Sometimes, when I scroll through old photos, I see that version of myself, the one who still needed validation, who thought love meant loyalty at any cost. And I barely recognize him. I've learned something I wish I knew back then. When someone tries to make you smaller so they can feel bigger, it's not love, it's control. And when you finally walk away, the silence that follows isn't loneliness. It's peace.